الذين اصطفى من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected listeners, since the past 2 weeks we've been talking about what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted for us to eat and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made impermissible. And last week we had explained that in terms of animals, in terms of slaughtering of animals, what conditions has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established that have to be found before anything becomes permissible for us to eat. This week, inshallah, to conclude this discussion, there's a few questions that go around in the minds of people that need to be answered whenever we talk about this. Inshallah, we'll take them up one by one. Before we start that, just to recapitulate, we had said that any animal that we call halal, for example, goat or camel or cow or buffalo, nobody calls them halal as they are. So if a goat is going somewhere, nobody's going to call it's halal right now. It only comes to reason that it becomes halal when it is slaughtered. This proves that there has to be a very important, very significant role for how even a halal animal is slaughtered. So when we're calling something halal in urf or in common language, we are saying that it has the capacity to become halal. That is the first thing, if slaughtered right. When it comes to slaughtering, they have to be slaughtered at the neck, they have to be slaughtered by either a Muslim or a Kitabi. And the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is established in the Quran. The name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be taken on each animal that is being slaughtered. Now the first thing that is going around, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all fitan and all confusions, is that the ulama, the people of knowledge, have made this deen and practice upon this deen so difficult that it has not remained practicable. So my dear respected brothers, the question that we need to ask ourselves is, do we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more or do we love our chicken burger more? If we care about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more, we will be very particular about what we are eating, and just out of our nafsaniyat, out of our base desire to do what we wish to do, what our nafs is telling to do, we will not declare this very important issue of halal and haram something that is created by the ulama or by the mullah. Speaking very frankly, I have been through that phase. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive my years of negligence. When we were in med school and when we were in high school, we talked about those things, that how ulama, the mullah, has made deen difficult, how they have made everything so harsh and hard upon us. The real deal is that when you go and talk with them, when you really find out with an honest intention in your heart, with honesty in your heart, you go and talk to them and find out, when you call them for a fatwa, they are going to give you a very direct answer. If you compare them with doctors, they don't even talk with you over the phone unless very necessary. So it is actually something better, something that we gotta give the ulama, that they are at least available over the phone. The complaint that people have is that when you call them, first of all, people don't want to call ulama for some strange reason. When they get in touch with the ulama, you are calling somebody who is busy day and night, teaching, taking classes, giving fatawa, dealing with so many things, and you think that they should have all the time in the world for you over the phone, just over a phone call. So when you call them, most ulama give a very direct and a short and sometimes a curt response. I say that they are doing that, even that is their ihsan. They are doing it for free. Go and try to consult a doctor for free. Go and try to consult a lawyer for free, and you'll find out. The ulama at least give you a direct one word, two word, one sentence, two sentence, yes or no answer over the phone. But if you really want to understand something, they are always available that you go and talk to them, discuss things with them, and they will explain it to you what they are saying is coming from where. The ulama have no interest in making the beef that you like so much haram, the chicken that you like so much haram. Even those institutes of ulama that are running a certification process, they are doing it for free. They are doing it by making the expenses out of their own pocket. I know that the institute that I talked about last week, Sharia Board, they have a certification process where every month out of their own pocket they will take care of the travel expenses and go to every place that they have certified and inspect them. And they don't charge neither the general public for it, nor the processor for it, neither the mazbah or the restaurant or whatever they are, the retailer, they don't charge them for anything. So what is their interest in doing that? This is in and of itself a clear dalil, a clear evidence for the open mind that they are sincere people, they are not doing it for any worldly interest. But anyway, when it comes to halal and haram, there is something even much more serious. And that is that these edicts are not of a mullah. These rulings are not of a mullah, but of the Quran and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. And somebody who goes to the length of clearly denying an express command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given in the Quran or in a clear, well-known hadith, they run the risk of leaving the fold of Islam. Upon this, there is consensus of Ummah. If you deny what is said in the Quran, what claim to Islam do you have? What claim to Islam do you have? So when something has been clearly said in the Quran, it is not a creation of the mullah or the alim or the ulama, but it is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran. So we have to be very particular about it. Superficially, we cannot say that this is something that has been created by the ulama, or this is something that has been made hard for us by the people who like to call themselves religious. That is not the case. This is a case of the Quran saying something very clearly. Second thing is that sometimes, and I went over this last week as well, and just in the beginning today, some people say that when an animal in and of itself is halal, how can something make it haram? We answered this question last time, but just to repeat, nothing is halal in and of itself. Even barley and grains can become haram if you earn them in the wrong way. Similarly, a goat, a cow, anything that is there, it's not halal by itself. It becomes halal when it is slaughtered and processed in the right manner. Nothing is halal in and of itself. Everything can be haram. When you hit a deer or a cow or the animals die of famine or of disease, nobody is going to want to consume it. Why? A cow is halal, right? How did that become haram? It died on its own. Go and eat it. Make kebab out of it. Why will you not do it? Because it was not slaughtered the right way. Because it did not die the right way. So therefore, only the things that have been processed as per the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they become halal. And that process, alhamdulillah, we did and explained last week. Another thing is that a question that goes around generally, especially the public here in the United States and other Western countries, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has allowed consuming haram when halal is not available. This is a question that we used to listen to a lot, hear a lot, 10 or 15 years back when we came here, that when you cannot find halal, it becomes permissible to consume haram. Again, there's so many levels of ignorance involved in this. My dear respected brother, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is allowing something to be consumed which is haram, there's conditions to it. We do not have the knowledge of deen. We get something from here, we get something from there, and then we call khichdi of our own, a mixture of our own, and try to apply it there. Number one thing is that here in the United States and in almost all countries, I do not know of any country or any place where if you made an effort, you will not be able to find halal. Number one. Number two is that haram becomes permissible when somebody is dying, when somebody cannot survive without consuming haram. So we are not dying without that McDonald's burger, or we are not dying without that beef steak. There's so many other things always available. Number three is that consuming that haram when you are in that situation that you are dying and you cannot find anything halal to survive upon, your death is imminent, you are for sure to die. Even then, consuming only that much of haram becomes permissible. In fact, the explanation in the Quran is it still does not become permissible, but the sin is lifted from it. It still remains haram, but the sin is lifted. Only that amount of haram can be consumed which is necessary to make you survive, just make you get by. A piece, a small morsel, not more than that. We should reconsider our situation. Who among us is going to die without beef? Who among us is going to die if they do not consume whole chickens and whatnot? Please, whenever we are trying to apply something, at least have some sense about it. When we are talking about dunya, when we are talking about deals that we are getting in petty stores, we have all the wisdom in the world. But when we are talking about this such important issue, we have made it very easy for us. That when halal is not available, we will just consume haram because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted to use haram when halal is not available. Halal is available. It is your nafs that is telling you. It is your inner self that is telling you that go and find ease for yourself. Remember, even when you have this desire in you, this base desire has become your leader. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from that. Then what happens is that you will read the Quran and you will find meanings of your own. The whole ummah for the 1400 years would have been saying one thing. You will open the Quran, and because your nafs is your muqtada, your nafs is your imam, your nafs is your leader, you will dive in the Quran, you will dive in the Sunnah, and you'll find a meaning that because you are going in there with a pre-bias, with a bias. You want to find out, you don't want to find out what the Quran is saying or the Hadith is saying. You want to find out what I am saying, the Quran, how can I find that in the Quran? How can I make the Quran say it? How can I clothe the Quran in those meanings? How can I give those meanings to the Quran? My dear respected brothers, this is something very serious. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us care and concern for halal and haram in our lives. The practice of the Sahaba in every single thing, whenever there is ambiguity, this has been about riba, this has been about halal, about alcohol, this has been their case and their example, their teaching about halal and haram meat or halal and haram earning. Whenever there is even the tiniest doubt, run away from it. Whenever there is the tiniest doubt, run away from it. The people who have made their nafs, their muqtada, they will make music halal and permissible. They will make haram, non-slaughtered beef permissible. They will make riba permissible, and they have already done this to a lot of extent. They will make alcohol permissible for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such people and going in the wrong direction at the hands of deranged people. Ameen.